music.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I did not. If you're watching the video, the intro will be done, but it's not ready yet. It's not ready.
Yeah, lots going on. You're doing a lot of
It is
different
my
cool things.
it's my first week of the
Also,
semester.
school is starting.
Officially tomorrow. So yeah, it's very fitting that we are starting a new book,
Yeah, yeah,
Tablet of
yeah.
Fire.
New school year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, we don't start in the school year, but we'll get to that. What else is going on?
Um,
Pretty much that.
Yeah, we did some indie game collective demoed promo stuff yesterday.
Demoed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was very fun.
Mm-hmm. Um, we played some bad plans.
We did.
Your character almost died twice. Actually, I don't know how close you were because you said that you were a little like not as worried because you made your death save in between, but
Well, I wasn't worried because once I made the death save, unless I got hit twice, you would be able to heal me on the next turn.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It was dicey.
It was dicey.
It was dicey. It's never good to go unconscious,
No.
and it's worse to go unconscious twice.
For context, there was a banshee, and the
Mm,
banshee has this special wailing chaos that if you fail your save, you drop to 0 hit points and go unconscious,
that's
which
what
is
happened.
very intense. It's
That is
such
what
an
happened.
intense thing.
Yep.
Like you're literally leaving it up to chance of like you may die.
Yep. No, it was
And you may
definitely
die like not like a chipping away, but a like okay.
kaboom.
Mm-hmm.
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 I also for props play, we finished our D&D chapter.
Mm-hmm.
There was also almost an unconscious. I
There was
almost
a
went
lot of
unconscious.
intensity.
But luckily for Tamari, my character, I can shift into like a more cat-like form, and it gives me temp hit points. And if I had not done that, I definitely would have been unconscious. So there's a lot of like Dungeons and Dragons is a dangerous game. You can die.
It's
It's not like some of the other games we played on Saturday where it's like you're expected to die over and over and
right,
over
right,
and
right.
over.
Well, you have a deeper attachment to the character,
Yeah.
It's a more true, or it's a more engaged RPG than even, especially video games, where
Yeah.
you die as a Link like over and over again.
Yeah. I'm Kins. My name is Kins.
You are
I'm a druid.
a
I'm
druid.
a druid. So yeah, I have this awesome illustrated book that it's kind of hard to show on
Did
camera.
you
It's like
read from
pretty.
it?
I did read from it.
How was it?
So our page numbers are different because the when you
Oh, okay.
because it's double
But we
column
use the
and
other
also yeah.
book for page numbers.
Yeah, we'll use our standard numbering
Well, I
system.
should have guessed because that's clearly thinner than the other book
Yeah. Yeah.
by kind of a lot.
Yeah, it's not just like same book with all these pictures.
It sounds like we should get into it.
Yeah,
New book,
new
new
book.
school year.
Almost.
Juan's ready.
Mine's ready.
Turn to page 1, the Riddle House. Today's lesson is called The Snake of Things to Come. Nice. The chapter begins in a new place, Little Hangleton, a sleepy town with a spooky story. The Riddle family mansion on the hill was the site of a grisly triple murder 50 years ago. The elder Mr. and Mrs. Riddle and their only son clearly murdered in their house. Yet police found no evidence of a murder at all. It was as if they simply dropped dead of fear. The prime suspect was Frank Bryce, a young man who tended the grounds, and although the town remained convinced over the 50 years that he was guilty, Frank remained loyal to the property and maintained it into his late 70s. When one night he saw a fire burning up at the house. He went to investigate only to find it was set in the grate, and 2 men appeared to be speaking back and forth in front of it, using words and phrases he did not understand. He did understand, however, that these men had killed and were planning to kill again, and he needed to warn Harry Potter. He never got the chance to warn Mr. Potter, though, because a great snake, Nagini, slithered up and he was spotted and murdered.
This poor man, he's like, I don't know Harry Potter. And then he's like, I think they're saying words like Ministry of Magic. And he's just like there and then just dies. Well, after all sorts of other stuff happened to him before that. I just wanted to try to show off some pictures of what this illustration of the Riddle house looks like.
Gosh. Oh
Um,
my gosh.
and
Ooh.
it looks straight up Adam's Family to me. So Jeff and I played this game on Jackbox where that's what I just thought of. Where we have to like it's actually pretty hard. It's like Mad Libsy
Kinda, yeah.
where you only get to choose like an adjective and like a noun, and it can be a hint.
But you're trying to guess.
Yeah, you're trying to guess like
a clue.
something.
Mhm.
And so like you keep so one of them was the Adams Family, right?
Yeah.
Because it was something like, was that yours?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was like spooky
Family
domicile or
oh yeah
something.
I don't know, building, I don't know, it was fun,
yeah,
but that's so that's what the Riddle house looks like. Which
The
we
Riddle
don't know
house.
we don't know anything about the riddles, I believe, at this point, other than Tom Riddle is his name, because we
Yes.
learned that from Chamber of Secrets. We don't
That's
know
right.
anything about who these people are or
Nope.
what they're about or anything like
Nope.
that.
It's another stroke of tone setting.
Mm.
I wrote in my notes that like I've always loved this chapter
Mm-hmm.
because it does these things that shift, that I think they prime us to like think differently about the story.
Mm.
And so if I'm not mistaken, I believe that this is the first chapter since I think book 1 where Harry is not the prime mover.
Yeah. Well, Harry's not even in the. Well, I
He
guess
is not.
technically he is, right? 'Cause
He
he's
wakes up.
Yeah. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it does something, right? It does something specific. It makes the world feel bigger.
Mm.
That there are things outside of Harry's view
Mm-hmm.
happening and have happened.
Mm-hmm.
The history of it, the mystery of it,
Mm-hmm.
and then like the sort of recognition that what this chapter does it really lets us know that we should be worried about Voldemort. He has a plan.
Yeah.
This plan, nobody
Mhm.
knows about it. This guy overhears it and gets killed.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of
It's
interesting like dynamics in here. I do have to mention though with Frank Bryce, like I found a Twitter account. It's like it hasn't been active since 2013, but it's somewhat like of a parody, but it's like it's the Frank Bryce, Muggle caretaker, killed by Lord Voldemort after eavesdropping on the conversation. And then we'll find out that last line later on of the spell. But yeah, I was just laughing a lot because it's just like these little tiny, like, why would anyone make a Frank Bryce account? I don't know, but it's kind of
that's
funny.
hilarious. Oh, it's hilarious. Yeah, Twitter in 2013.
Yeah,
Beautiful place.
yeah. In the movie scene of this, it plays out a little bit differently, like it always does, because they have like some
Yes.
sort of objective.
There's one big difference.
There's a major difference.
Yeah.
David Tennant is there.
Right. Doctor Who is there.
Yeah. Or who does he play? Is he Mori? No, he's Mike. No, is he Moriarty or Mycroft?
No, he's not in Sherlock.
I thought he was in Sherlock.
No.
He's in Sherlock.
No, he's not in
Yeah.
Sherlock. No, he's not.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to look up his IMDb.
No.
Are
I think
you
you're thinking
sure?
of Jessica Jones.
Oh,
He's the
yeah,
bad guy in
yeah,
Jessica
yeah.
Jones.
Are you sure he's not?
I'm positive. Moriarty is a different actor.
Oh my gosh.
I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Okay, ignore that bit.
Cut.
Yeah, he's there.
They're both super good actors, and they
And-
have that sort of intensity
okay.
about them.
Well, then I'll have to put like a side by side. Which is which? Who is who? Yeah, he's there. Because part of it is like, I mean, it's still like similar.
It
Like
accelerates
he
the
still
story,
dies, but yeah, it's a different sort of.
condenses it.
But that whole like back and forth, there's a lot in there because so we see Peter Pettigrew because we ended the last book where he got away because of this whole like
And
everything that
Harry
happens. Yeah, yeah.
shares with Dumbledore the Trelawney prediction.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Servant and master will be reunited.
And so then we see Pettigrew, and so Voldy is all like, must kill Harry Potter. Quidditch World Cup, which we got like little crumbs at the last book, the end of the last book, that's a thing that Harry is actually very excited about. You know, his
Rightly so.
godfather disappeared. He can't live with his godfather. He has to go back to the Dursleys.
At least
But
there's sports.
the Weasleys, yeah, the Weasleys are gonna take him to the Quidditch World Cup, which is, you know, a pretty major deal. It's a big event, you know. And so Voldy's like, must kill Harry Potter. And Pettigrew's like, well, do you have to kill the boy? He's hard to kill. Why can't you just kill some other like less hard to kill wizard? And Voldy is like instantly picking up on this sort of like, oh well,
You're a coward.
yeah, you're a coward. Like
You don't understand.
you know, and there is this hint to me that was kind of we talked about we'll see it later play out later out, but like the thing that Dumbledore said about the binding connection of saving a wizard's life, and I feel like that was alluded to in some sense in a like Voldemort's kind of like I'm gonna kill you because you're gonna betray me sort of sense, or him suggesting that maybe you're soft for Harry Potter now or
even
whatever.
if Voldemort doesn't understand that magic, he is very much aware of somebody. I mean, he is super incisive about why Wormtail is there. He is under no illusions.
Yeah.
Right. For the most part, almost to a man, Voldemort reads people correctly, except for one person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's based on the same type of magic that he doesn't seem to comprehend. But like, we learn that he's an incredibly accomplished legilimens.
Yep.
And I think that becomes apparent here because he's not even fully himself. Like, I think that one of the things about legilimency that's really interesting, because you get it with Dumbledore too, is you don't have to always use magic to gain insight. You can actually be quite good at just reading people and knowing people. And Voldemort just knows who Wormtail is.
Yeah, yeah.
Knows why he's there.
Yep. I mean, in part, that's probably how, or we talked about Grindelwald also of like being people who are able to see like who people are and manipulate that, because you're just like, oh, okay, well, Peter Pettigrew, like let's lure you to the dark side or whatever. I don't know. So backing up just a bit though, so the three Riddles in this house dead. And so Frank Bryce is basically taken in, and like all this stuff is happening. And like as soon as this happens, all these little townspeople are like, I knew it. I never like, you know, that sort of thing. That's just
transition
like,
over the course of the night.
Like, dudes.
Like the cook gets more and more drunk, and she's like, by her fourth sherry or whatever, she's like, yeah, he probably did it. He kept to himself.
Yeah, yeah. So it was just like super interesting to me though, because that is actually a very real dynamic of like rationalization and being like, oh, I never liked that person, and these are all the reasons like that I can because humans just make sense of things in the context, so then we just like draw and we're like, oh, these things are gonna explain this situation. Even though it is not true.
Right.
It's not true.
So many people it's very difficult to live with not knowing.
Yeah.
And actually admitting to yourself.
Yep.
Like, I don't know.
Yep.
And these townsfolk demonstrate that difficulty very well.
Yeah.
Like, given enough time and enough intrigue.
Yeah.
They're like, we're going to fill it in.
Yeah.
With lies.
I was browsing through a lot of stuff like psychologically, because like it's interesting because I'm also fascinated by connotations of words and like, so to be rational, like people talk about that, like that seems like some mostly like a neutral like or
Hmm.
above emotion type thing, but rationalizing like the psychological phenomenon
Uh-huh.
is actually tinted in like the definitions and stuff that kept popping up were like you're trying to explain something that's whoops that's like not you're like reaching, so the tone of it, the connotation is less of that being rational, but like you're stretching to try to make sense of something to make
Hmm.
it seem rational. I don't know. But
Well,
as a coping
yeah,
mechanism, there's a lot of stuff behind it.
there's a difference. I mean, we've talked a lot about this because, as you know, it was a big part of my dissertation to an extent of like understanding
Mm,
being a reasoner,
mm-hmm.
which is very, very, very closely related to like rationale and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
rational.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like reasoner is even more incisive in this way, like that the word reason
Yeah.
has kind of two distinct meanings, maybe more. One is like why somebody thinks or does something. They have
Mm-hmm.
a reason
Mm-hmm.
without any kind of suggestion about the
Is
quality
it
of
good?
that
Is it bad?
reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, or the durability or resiliency of that reason.
Yeah.
And then two reason being like held up as, an enlightenment principle, kind of the bedrock of like to be reasonable, to reason through
Mm-hmm.
things is like really is has a fully good connotation for the most part.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I think that that's going on, like it's going on here, and this is it's such a unique and clever way to do it, of just like we never meet any of these characters again. I mean, we
No,
see Frank
no,
Bryce
no.
one more time, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
other, maybe actually a couple of times, I guess, like in Harry's
Pass.
dreams.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think like it just it really works. It works because it's just, of course, like if you're in a small town and there's a triple murder
Yeah.
of like the richest people,
Right, yeah.
it's gonna, even the way that she describes it really tickles me, because she's like, even now when things are slow, this is what comes up in the tavern, right? To like pontificate about and speculate about. It's a blood sport. It's just entertainment at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's really fascinating. I think the least realistic part is that Frank Bryce gets to go free. That the police are just like, oh well, we didn't
Well,
find anything, and therefore like natural causes go on, Frank.
yeah, there's I don't know. I don't know.
The speed at which the way that it
Yeah.
plays out, like
Yeah.
obviously we don't have a timeline, but it's just kind of funny. And then it's like he goes back to work there.
Yeah, and then he just stays there, and I'm like, dude, get out.
Yeah.
Three people just got straight up so yeah, the more likely explanation, even though it doesn't like I don't know, all these things that they're saying are probably stretches of truth or just bad perception
Mm.
or I don't know, the things that are like just stretches. But it's better to be like, oh, Frank Bryce did it because these are the reasons that make sense somehow, than three people just up and died and we have no explanation whatsoever.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought this up in this way, because I wasn't even really thinking about this way, though I
Mm,
think I have in previous reads.
yeah.
And I think like it's really useful to analyze the social dynamics of this chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Really, like it really is. It's actually quite insightful on like on even myself, to understand what I'm doing some of the times when I do it, and like maybe I don't want to do it that way, to
Yeah.
be more comfortable in not knowing. It's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. I mean, you
Yeah.
really have to learn it.
Well, and part of it is also there's like another complex layer that's like doesn't matter what these townspeople think. Like this is the whole industry of like keeping up with the
Mm.
Kardashians or just paparazzi, celebrity gossip, like all this sort. Like it doesn't actually matter. Like it's not like so who cares what they think?
As you know, I'm a proclaimer of true things. So
Yeah.
like people should be true. So I would, without any insight into this book, I'd imagine that this is actually extremely unhealthy
Yeah.
for these people, and probably for Frank. I mean, he continues living there, and
Yeah.
like he probably never makes a friend.
Yeah.
because he has this stigma around him for no reason.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't
But
deserve
they
it.
were gonna do that regardless of,
Sure.
so I don't know. This is where my
Because he
pessimistic
was a
view on
loner already.
humanity is. Like
Yeah.
it's just how people are, and there's no like fixing. It's just
I'm with you that it's realism, but I'm not willing to let it live
yeah.
just for the sake of being realistic. You know, I mean, it's keeping up with the Kardashians, all of that like speculation of like the
Hmm.
tabloids of this person's pregnant and this person's broke and this person died and all this like
Yeah.
it drives me insane.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Just don't do it at all.
Yeah.
And see how your life feels. I bet you will be much happier, much more content
Hmm.
with just like existing, worrying a little bit less about things that aren't true.
Yep.
But it's a blood sport. It's entertainment, so they must get some kind of dopamine from it. But
Yeah.
not me.
Yeah.
Makes me anxious.
Oh, little puppy.
But let's talk about the plan.
The plan.
The way that Voldemort talks. It's interesting to me. Like even in this setting, he's still guarded. He's guarded with some of his language and like what he says and Bertha Jorkins and what he's learned.
Bertha
Jerkins,
Jorkins
Jorkins, Jorkins.
Jorkins would be on that Sporkle quiz for Harry Potter. Like
I'd give Bertha.
I would not. I'd
Mm.
be like, yeah, I would probably like it's like that thing where we always get that question on trivia where it's what's the name of the guy that they polyjuice themselves into in the ministry? Like we never actually remember the guy's name. We know it sounds like or it's something like this. Like oops, I just dropped my wand.
Wand, not
That
ready.
would be me with Bertha Jorkins. It's like
Man.
it's kind of like a name that's like
Mm-hmm.
I know if I hear it that I might be like, yeah, that's a person, but it would be hard for me to come up with it, generate it on my own, just being like, yeah, especially
Yeah, I
Sparkle,
can't think of the people that they turn into.
It's like it's not Edward, it's
Mathilda,
like
Mafalda,
no, it's the Albert
Runcorn.
something.
Hmm.
Anyway, yeah, so that's
I guess we'll find out in a couple of years.
and we'll see if we ever commit it to memory.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah. So he's like plotting out this plan that's happening here, which so Bertha she worked at the ministry in
Right.
the games and sports
Yeah. We find
department.
out later in the book, like very close to the end, that why exactly Wormtail's capture and Voldemort's subsequent interrogation of Bertha Jorkins is so important.
Mm. I saw an image of her on like when I was searching. I couldn't really find. I was looking to see if there was like an official. I guess I didn't check to see like Jorkin's family to see if there was more on
Right.
World, but I saw a picture of her. Is she in the movies?
I
I
don't think so.
There's like an image of an actual person that I'm like, where's this picture from? Like
Hmm.
I don't know. So maybe I should actually look closer. Or I wonder if it was like from a memory. You know how there's always the flashbacks? Because also apparently she's the same age as, or was like at Hogwarts at the same time as
With Pettigrew.
Harry's. Yeah, all
Yeah.
of them.
So
So like
she
I
recognizes
wonder,
them
right. Yeah, so
in
that's
the
what he
in a
says. He's
bar or
like,
something.
oh, well, of course she has to die because like why would she be like talking about some man who's supposed to be dead, but it was actually a rat for 12 years.
Yep.
Like still such a strange thing.
Yeah, I mean it's really uh fascinating because the wheels of this plan start by happenstance. What we learn is that the fact that Bertha Jorkins comes across Peter Pettigrew in this random place
Mhm.
spawns this whole plan or allows it to happen
Mhm.
because she contains. I'm going to take a risk because I'm not positive that this is what it is, but I believe that she knows that Barty Crouch Jr. is alive.
Yeah, so I mean I feel like that that connects like what we were talking about in the movie, like just accelerating the stuff and like you don't really
Why she
need
wouldn't
all
be in
this.
it
Yeah,
because he's
yeah.
already out.
Yeah, so you
So
would be like, let's just chop this out and get straight to the point of putting David Tennant with Voldemort.
yeah,
With
yeah,
baby
yeah,
Voldemort.
yeah. Old babe, old baby,
Just a little shriveled up
baby
tiny.
old.
I don't think we see like we just see like the hand in the movie. We don't see like
And then they like
what
turn the chair and
terrified
it's just
Frank
the
Bryce.
flash of green.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, oh, also Nagini. Have we ever seen
Oh
Nagini
my
before? I don't think
gosh.
so, right?
Uh
I don't think we have.
no. Why? Yeah, I'm trying to think like under what circumstance would we have seen Nagini?
I don't even think we know at this
In
point.
a
I think this is the
memory?
first chapter that we even know that she exists.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so we already knew that Tom Riddle talked to snakes. That's all book 2.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, I guess we haven't.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah.
And even more than that, I'm racking my brain. I don't think we ever know for sure whether Nagini was even present in the first Wizarding War for Voldemort. Because I believe, in
Well,
fact, I think we learn that he meets her in this state in Albania.
that sounds right to me.
And she, like,
Uh,
I don't know.
there's a lot of gaps. This is actually in part why I was very excited about the Fantastic Beasts series, even though I don't think it would give us like definitive answers or anything like that. But like learning more about Nagini.
Well, I mean,
and
yeah,
that sort
where
of
did
thing,
that was wild. It's really fascinating. Yeah, what was the deal with her?
Yeah.
Because we know that she becomes very important as the snake. As
Mhm.
the story goes on, she gets elevated to a very important place in the plot line. But it's never been clear to me when Voldemort is making these Horcruxes and turning her into one of them, when that happens.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah. I've always wondered if there's not a possibility that he does it like when he kills Bertha Jorkins. But I don't know.
I don't either.
Yeah.
No idea.
But speaking of Horcruxes, we did in this chapter learn about one of the murders that spawns a Horcrux, or at least encourages it.
But it wasn't mentioned.
No, no.
Horcruxes. Yeah, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
not at all. No,
Mhm,
no.
mhm.
We won't know about Horcruxes
until
book 6,
Slut Club.
many years from now. I'm excited. This is great. It's a great book.
Uh-huh.
There's some amazing characters that are about to be involved. I can't wait to talk about Ludo Bagman, who notoriously is cut entirely and from the movie, and his whole storyline with the Weasley twins is quite fascinating.
So when you know how like Google tells you like recommended like people search for this or affiliated with this. So like I was looking up Frank Bryce, and then I was looking at the movie scene. Then I looked up Barty Crouch Jr. because
Barty Crouch
Jr. Yeah, and Ludo Bagman was one of the listed, but it was like a drawing or an animated like image, and so there were other ones that were up there, and then I started thinking about there's like just a bunch of people. It's a whole entire society. Of course, there's a bunch of people. There's like a bunch of.
I mean,
Harry's not the only one that's
think
important
about
here.
who's coming in this book.
Yeah,
We got Mad Eye Moody,
well,
Bagman, Crumb, Delacour,
yeah,
Cedric, Cho.
Oh my gosh!
Like, it's all coming down the pipe.
Oh my gosh, you just reminded me. I have to
Rock and roll.
I have to read the inside of this
Karkaron.
cover. I don't know what the inside of your cover says for Goblet of Fire, but this is what the illustrated
Madame
one
Maxime.
says.
Rita Skeeter.
Grupp! Wait, is Grupp in
is
this one?
next one.
Oh, darn.
No.
Okay. Harry Potter wants to get away from the pernicious Dursleys and go to the Quidditch World Cup with Hermione, Ron, and the Weasleys. He wants to dream about Cho Chang, his crush, parentheses, and maybe do more than dream. And I'm like, what the? Excuse you, book cover insert. He wants to find out about the mysterious event involving 2 other rival schools of magic in a competition that hasn't happened for hundreds of years. Yeah, it's always good to just bring back ancient things that
Pop it
are,
back.
yeah,
Pop
why
it
not?
back in
Why
play.
not?
It's like the Olympics.
If the Olympics stopped for hundreds of
They
years,
did,
and then
it
came, oh,
did.
really?
Yeah.
I guess I didn't know.
From
Well,
like
yeah,
ancient
okay,
Greece,
yeah.
Not the modern
I
ones.
was like,
didn't stop
oh,
yet.
you're just okay. He wants to be a normal 14-year-old wizard.
Normal wizard.
Unfortunately for Harry Potter, he's not normal. Oh, he's different. Even by wizarding standards, and in his case, different can be deadly. And I'm just like, this description, who wrote this?
Oh my gosh.
Definitely not Aura Jeffrey writing that summary, the book summary.
No.
There's
no,
like,
no,
I mean,
no.
yeah, but it just made me laugh.
Yeah, who does write those things? It's a big mystery that needs to be solved. It's like who writes like back in the TV guide, or like when we had cable and you could like search the show that was on, and it would give you
Just
the
the
summary,
like,
and it was like, who wrote this? There
Somebody
was
did.
something that was particularly egregious. Not to go completely off track, but I feel like it was Lost or something when I was watching on Netflix years ago. And it would like come up, and like the description would be just insanity. Like it was like, what is happening? Like it's so vague and ambiguous as to be completely vacuous. There's no information that's useful at all. Jack and John Locke are in a dispute on an island, and it's like 4 seasons in, and it's like, yeah. Thank you for that.
We know.
Yeah.
Harry Potter
is
a wizard.
Yeah.
I love how we like said the same thing.
Good. Thank you. Really interesting.
Yeah. All right.
Start of something new. The snake of things to come.
I still don't get it.
The
like,
shape of things to come
okay.
is actually.
I know. I'm like, it sounds like it should be a
tie it all
saying, but-
together. One of my favorite Lost episodes, The Shape of Things to Come.
Oh.
And then I said snake because there was a snake.
Yeah. In the
Snack.
dungeon. Oh no. In the building. I don't know. There's no
Oh,
troll
everywhere.
in the dungeon. All right.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Wands
Wands
ready.
ready.